What if the craziest myths you've ever heard were just badly labeled facts? Ancient cities no one believed in, legendary creatures that actually existed, and impossible technologies that were very real. Today, we're going through 33 historical lies that turned out to be disturbingly real. This isn't mythology, it's history with a plot twist. Number 1. The unicorn was real. The majestic, sparkly unicorn from fairy tales? History's version was less magical rainbow pony and more furry, one-horned tank. Meet the Elasmotherium sibericum, the Siberian unicorn. This massive, hairy rhinoceros roamed Eurasia and could weigh up to 4 tons with a single colossal horn in the middle of its forehead. For centuries, tales of one-horned creatures were dismissed as pure fantasy until paleontologists found the fossils to prove it. Yes, unicorns were real, they just weren't the elegant creatures you'd want on a t-shirt. Number 2. Poison damsels were human weapons. The legend of the Vishkanya, or poison damsels, sounds like something from a spy thriller. Beautiful young women in ancient India were raised from birth on a carefully curated diet of poison and venom. Over time, they would build up immunity, but their bodily fluids would become lethal to others. A single kiss could be a death sentence. Historical texts from the Mauryan Empire confirm this was a very real and terrifyingly effective method of assassination. It's the ultimate toxic relationship taken to a literal level. Number 3. The Kraken was a giant squid. The Kraken, a legendary sea monster so massive it could pull entire ships down with its colossal tentacles. For sailors, it was the ultimate nightmare whispered in terrified tones across the seas. Well, it turns out the sailors weren't just drunk. The legend was almost certainly inspired by very real giant squids. These creatures can grow over 40 feet long with eyes the size of dinner plates, and tentacles strong enough to cause serious trouble for wooden ships. Imagine being a 17th century sailor seeing one emerge from the murky depths. Number 4. Stone Age brain surgery. If you think modern medicine is stressful, imagine getting brain surgery during the Stone Age. The procedure was called trepanation, drilling, cutting, or scraping a hole into the human skull. Archaeologists have found numerous prehistoric skulls with these holes showing clear signs of healing and bone regrowth, meaning patients survived for years after the operation. Our cave-dwelling ancestors were performing brain surgery with flint tools, and people were actually surviving it. Number 5. Female gladiators in Rome. The image of a gladiator is almost always a muscle-bound man with a sword. But whispers of female gladiators were dismissed by many historians as fantasy until archaeology stepped in. In 2000, a grave was discovered in London containing a woman buried with the full honors of a gladiator. Roman art and inscriptions describe women fighting with swords, shields, and helmets, often against each other or exotic beasts. They weren't just a sideshow, they were trained fighters spilling blood for roaring crowds. Number 6. Moby Dick's real inspiration. Herman Melville's Moby Dick wasn't random fiction, it was based on a very real, dangerous albino sperm whale named Mocha Dick. This whale was a legend among 19th century Pacific whalers, known for his incredible size, distinctive white coloring, and extreme aggression toward whaling ships. Unlike other whales that would flee, Mocha Dick would actively attack boats, reportedly surviving encounters with dozens of harpoons. The epic tale wasn't fiction, it was inspired by a real sea monster who hunted mankind. Number 7. Caligula's floating palaces. Roman Emperor Caligula built 2 massive floating pleasure palaces on Lake Nemi, gigantic barges decorated with marble mosaics and lead piping for hot and cold running water. For nearly 2,000 years, everyone thought this was another tall tale about his insanity. Then, in the 1920s, the lake was partially drained, revealing the remains of 2 colossal ships far more technologically advanced than anyone believed possible for that era. Caligula wasn't just crazy, he was crazy with an engineering budget. Number 8. London's Ghost Train. A train dedicated solely to transporting dead people sounds like gothic horror, but the London Necropolis Railway was very real. In the mid-19th century, London's cemeteries were overflowing, creating a public health crisis. The solution was a dedicated railway with its own private station, designed to ferry coffins and grieving families to Brookwood Cemetery. There were first, second, and third-class tickets for both the living and deceased. A real ghost train running on a daily schedule. Number 9. The Pied Piper Incident. We all know the fairy tale. A piper lures away rats, then takes revenge by stealing children. But something terrifying did happen in Hamelin in 1284. The town's chronicles state that on June 26, a piper led 130 children out of town, and they vanished into a mountain, never to be seen again. While the magical pipe is probably folklore, the mass disappearance is a real historical event. Theories range from plague to crusade recruitment. The myth isn't the disappearance. The myth is the happy ending that never existed. Number 10. Everest's marine fossils. Where can you find ancient sea creatures? The summit of Mount Everest. The world's highest peak is made of marine limestone packed with fossilized ocean life. The rock forming the Himalayas was once the floor of an ancient ocean. Over millions of years, the Indian subcontinent crashed into Asia with such force that it pushed that seafloor nearly 30,000 feet into the sky. You can literally stand on the roof of the world and find fossils of creatures that once lived miles beneath the waves. Number 11. Gorillas were mythical. Imagine describing a gorilla to someone who's never heard of one, a giant, hairy, super strong wild man that pounds its chest. For over 2,000 years, Western civilization treated these tales as pure myth. The Carthaginian explorer Hanno wrote about hairy savage people called gorillae in the 5th century BC, but his account was dismissed as fantasy. It wasn't until the 1840s that Western scientists obtained a skull and confirmed that the mythical hairy wild men of Africa were very real. The planet's largest primate was basically Bigfoot for most of human history. Number 12. Archimedes' death ray. The story of Archimedes using mirrors to focus sunlight onto Roman ships, setting them ablaze from a distance, sounds like science fiction. While there's no proof he actually built it, modern science says it's possible. Experiments by MIT students demonstrated that under the right conditions, concentrated sunlight from polished bronze mirrors can ignite wood. The myth of the death ray was based on sound physics, science way ahead of its time. Number 13. Amazon warriors. The Amazons of Greek mythology, fierce, all-female warriors equal to any male hero. Historians assumed they were fantasy until archaeologists started digging. Excavating Scythian burial mounds in Eurasia, they found women buried with bows, arrows, swords, and daggers. Many skeletons showed battle wounds. These were real warrior women from the exact region Greeks described. They might not have been a nation of only women, but Scythian culture included women who rode into battle and fought fiercely alongside men. Number 14. SEA's serpents were orfish. For as long as humans have sailed, they've told stories of giant, snake-like sea serpents. Many sightings can be explained by a very real, very weird fish, the oarfish. As the world's longest bony fish, it can grow over 30 feet long. It's silvery, ribbon-shaped, with a bright red dorsal fin running its length like a fiery mane. When oarfish are sick or dying, they surface, and their strange undulating movement makes them look exactly like mythical sea serpents. Number 15. Ancient Egyptians knew pygmies. To European explorers, stories of very small people in Africa's heart sounded like folklore belonging with dwarves and fairies. Except ancient Egyptians knew they were real over 4,000 years ago. A famous letter from young Pharaoh Pepi II, written around 2270 BC, enthusiastically instructs his expedition leader to take care of a dancing dwarf being brought from Central Africa. Egyptians held pygmy people in high regard, often as divine dancers, and actively traded with them. What Europeans dismissed as myth was to Egyptians well-documented reality. Number 16. The ancient Greek computer. If you said ancient Greeks had a computer, people would laugh. The popular image of ancient technology is simple tools and brute force. This view persisted until a corroded bronze lump was recovered from a shipwreck off Antikythera in 1901. Modern X-rays and CT scans revealed a stunning truth. Inside was a complex system of over 30 interlocking bronze gears. It was an analog computer designed to predict movements of the sun, moon, and planets, track eclipses, and signal Olympic Games. Technology so advanced that nothing comparable would be seen for over 1,000 years. Number 17. The assassins were real. The word assassin conjures images from video games, hooded figures performing impossible stealth kills. For centuries, stories of the Hashishin were considered legend. But they were terrifyingly real. They were the Nizari Ismailis, operating from mountain fortresses like Alamut. They perfected psychological warfare through targeted political assassination. Their agents would eliminate caliphs, viziers, and crusader leaders in public, often at the cost of their own lives. They weren't high on hashish. They were disciplined, sober, and ruthlessly effective. Number 18. Nazca lines weren't alien-made. Giant drawings etched into the desert floor, so enormous they can only be seen from the sky. For decades, the popular explanation wasn't ancient ingenuity, it was aliens. But the truth is more human and more impressive. The Nazca civilization created these massive geoglyphs with a simple technique. They removed reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles to reveal lighter ground underneath. It's large-scale landscaping. The mystery isn't how they did it, but why. We still don't know, but it didn't require a UFO. Number 19. Atlantis was the eruption of Thera. Atlantis, the legendary island with advanced civilization that vanished beneath waves in a single day. Plato's story might not have been pure fantasy but a distorted memory of a real catastrophic event. The volcanic eruption of Thera, modern-day Santorini, around 1600 BC was one of the largest in human history. An explosion that blew the island's center apart and triggered colossal tsunamis across the Mediterranean, effectively wiping out the advanced Minoan civilization. An advanced island culture destroyed by the sea in a cataclysmic event. Sound familiar? Number 20. Oracle bones confirmed a mythical dynasty. The Shang dynasty was considered mythical by many scholars, existing only in texts written centuries later, like King Arthur. There was no archaeological proof until Chinese pharmacists started selling dragon bones for medicine in the late 1800s. A scholar noticed strange carvings on these bones, which turned out to be the earliest known Chinese writing. The dragon bones were turtle shells and ox shoulder blades used by Shang kings for divination over 3,000 years ago. An entire dynasty was proven real because artifacts were being ground up for medicine. Number 21. Troy was real and brutal. The Trojan War with heroes like Achilles and Hector was the ancient world's blockbuster story. But Troy itself was believed fictional until Heinrich Schliemann, obsessed with Homer's epics, started digging at a Turkish mound in the 1870s. He found not just one city, but multiple layers. One layer, Troy VIA, showed undeniable evidence of being destroyed in brutal war around the exact time the Trojan War was supposed to have happened. The giant wooden horse might be poetic invention, but the city and its violent end were very real. Number 22. The Song of Roland's embarrassing truth. The Song of Roland tells of Charlemagne's knight making a valiant last stand against 400,000 Saracens. It's a cornerstone of French literature about Christian heroism. But the real story is less glamorous and more embarrassing. A battle did happen at Roncesvalles Pass in 778, and Charlemagne's rear guard was wiped out. But the attackers weren't a huge Muslim army. They were local Christian Basques furious because Charlemagne had just sacked their capital. The epic poem transformed a humiliating defeat by angry locals into a grand tale of religious warfare. Number 23. Secret Pyramid Chambers. For centuries, the Great Pyramid was surrounded by myths of hidden passages and secret chambers. The mainstream view was that it was just solid stone with known corridors. In 2017, using muon tomography, cosmic rays to scan structures, scientists discovered a massive, previously unknown void deep inside the pyramid. At least 100 feet long, located above the Grand Gallery. After 4,500 years of study, one of Earth's most famous structures still holds giant secrets. Number 24. Sodom and Gomorrah's meteor explosion. The story of two cities destroyed by fire and brimstone from heaven, for most, it's religious metaphor. But what if it's memory of a real physical event? Archaeologists at Tal el-Hammam in Jordan uncovered a thriving Bronze Age city instantly obliterated 3,600 years ago. Evidence points to a cataclysmic cosmic air burst, likely a meteor exploding with the force of thousands of atomic bombs. The blast would have vaporized the city, melted pottery into glass, and boiled the Jordan River. A scientific explanation for biblical fiery destruction from the sky. Number 25. Vikings reached America first. Viking sagas told of a green, fertile land called Vinland, far west of Greenland. For centuries, these stories were dismissed as boastful folklore. The idea that Vikings reached North America 500 years before Columbus was too far-fetched. Then, in the 1960s, Norwegian explorers following saga clues made a discovery that rewrote history. At L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland, they uncovered remains of a Norse settlement, turf-walled longhouses and ironwork artifacts that were unmistakably Viking. The myth of Vinland was true. Number 26. Scythian gold treasures. Ancient historian Herodotus wrote extensively about Scythians, nomadic warriors who buried their kings with vast gold treasures and sacrificed servants. It sounded wildly exaggerated, a civilized Greek describing barbarians sensationally. In the 20th century, archaeologists excavating Scythian burial mounds across Ukraine and Russia found breathtaking validation. The tombs were filled with staggering amounts of exquisitely crafted gold objects, combs, jewelry, armor, vessels, exactly as Herodotus described. He wasn't lying. Number 27. The Lost Roman Legion in China. After the disastrous Battle of Carrhae in 53 BC, legend says a Roman legion wasn't wiped out but captured and marched east. They eventually served as mercenaries, fought the Chinese, were captured again, and settled in a village called Liqian. Chinese records mention capturing soldiers using a fish scale formation. Perfect description of Roman testudo. Recent DNA tests on Liqian villagers reveal high Caucasian ancestry. The Lost Legion may have truly marched off the Western map into Chinese history. Number 28. The Lost City of the Monkey God. Legends of a white city hidden in Honduran jungle tantalized explorers for centuries. It was considered local myth, a dangerous fantasy in impenetrable rainforest. In 2012, researchers using airborne LiDAR technology flew over the remote Mesquite region. The scans revealed the impossible: distinct outlines of an entire ancient city with plazas, pyramids, and canals swallowed by jungle for 500 years. Ground expeditions confirmed the find, discovering stone statues and a ceremonial seat depicting a werjaguar that may have inspired the monkey god legend. Number 29. Egypt's underwater Pompeii. For thousands of years, Thonis Heraclean was known only from ancient Greek texts as Egypt's gateway, a fabulously wealthy port before Alexandria's founding. As no physical trace could be found, it was relegated to myth. In 2000, French underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio found it lying beneath 30 feet of Mediterranean water and sand. The entire lost city, temples, colossal statues of pharaohs and gods, sunken ships, countless artifacts, all perfectly preserved. It wasn't destroyed, it was swallowed when unstable ground collapsed. Number 30. El Dorado was a golden man. El Dorado, synonymous with the lost city of gold, a mythical kingdom that drove conquistadors mad with greed. While a city paved with gold was fantasy, the legend was sparked by a real ceremony. It belonged to the Muisca people of Colombia. Their ritual for anointing a new king was incredible. The ruler would be covered in gold dust, becoming El Dorado, the gilded man. He'd be taken on a raft to Lake Guatavita's center, and wash the gold off as an offering while subjects threw gold and emeralds into water. A single ceremony morphed into the legend of endless gold. Number 31. Mads Mikkelsen's pirate ancestor. This sounds like fake internet trivia, but it's true. The legendary Danish actor has a pirate in his family tree. His direct ancestor was Minder, a notorious 17th-century pirate and privateer operating in the Baltic Sea. Minder commanded his own ship and was a significant threat to Danish authorities and merchant vessels before being captured and brought to trial. So the intensity and dramatic flair might just run in the family, passed down from a real swashbuckling ancestor. Number 32. The Ghost Army of Vietnam. During the Vietnam War, American soldiers told stories of an enemy that could appear and disappear like magic, a phantom army striking from anywhere and vanishing. To those unfamiliar with terrain, it sounded like battlefield paranoia. But the myth was underground reality. The Viet Cong had constructed the Siu Chi tunnels, a colossal network stretching over 120 miles. This wasn't just foxholes but an underground world with living areas, hospitals, weapons factories, and command centers. The ghost soldiers were real, masters of their subterranean domain. Number 33. Captain Kidd's treasure was found. Captain Kidd is the quintessential pirate legend, a notorious privateer who supposedly buried massive treasure, leaving cryptic maps that fueled hunts for centuries. For 300 years, everyone assumed the treasure was myth. But before sailing to New York to clear his name, Kidd stopped at Gardiner's Island off Long Island. He did bury treasure, but not secretly. He entrusted it to island owner John Gardiner for safekeeping. After Kidd's execution, authorities forced Gardiner to hand it all over. It was a huge haul of gold, silver, and precious textiles. The legendary treasure was real, it just happened to be found almost immediately. So myths aren't dying, they're just waiting for evidence to catch up. What ancient myth do you secretly think might turn out to be true one day? What did we miss that should have made this list? The line between legend and reality is thinner than we think, and history keeps proving that the impossible might just be improbable. Tell me what you think in the comments. Pick a side. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more crazy history, told straight, no sugar.